we could All right, every year we do this and the board votes for the card, and congratulations to you. What an honor it is to be able to be on the front of the card, in the back of the card with your design and drawing. So I want to read your commendation awards, but just so everyone can see, here's the front of the Christmas card for the school corporation and then the back. So what a fantastic drawing. I could never draw like this, so kudos to you. Mine would be stick figures, and that would be about it. So well done. All right, we're going to read your commendation. Resolution accommodation. The Crown Point Board of School Trustees is honored to commend Ellie Rushmeyer and Madeline Crissel for glorious achievement. Be it hereby resolved that the Board of School Trustees for the Crown Point Community School Corporation wishes to express sincere congratulations for having the winning design for the front and back of the school corporation's 2025 Christmas card. The Board of School Trustees publicly recognizes this achievement and renders it permanently to its minutes to be preserved for public posterity, dated this 15th day of December 2025. Congratulations. Kelly, if you come forward. Madeline. So, Madeline, do you want to say anything? You got the front. I'll let each of you speak. You're shy. You don't want to say anything? Can I ask you one question? I'll repeat it from the microphone. I won't even make you come up here. How did you come up with this vision for the front of this card? I want you to be honest. For those at home, she said Pinterest. Well, Pinterest worked out really, really well for you. So great job. And Ellie, could you tell us how you came up with your design and your, oh no. So you literally just thought of something and drew it. And this is what you came up with. Well done. That's amazing. So congratulations again. Thank you. We do have for you guys, each of you, 25 cards that you can take with you. So we'll give you your stack of cards before you leave. And then I have your original drawings that I'm going to give back to you too in return, since they're winning drawings, okay? All right, but again, congratulations.
Mr. Smith, we also have art teachers in the front row.
Oh, I'm sorry. Would you like to speak and come forward? Say anything, add anything?
Thank you, guys. We appreciate
Yeah, thank
all the
you.
work you guys did as well.
Any other photos? All good? Anybody else? All good. All right. Great job. Got your picture. All right, we're moving on to the public hearing, 3.01. Suspend the regular business meeting and open the public hearing. We have a motion.
So moved.
So moved by Mr. Angel.
Second.
Second by Ms. Basin. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Nays? Vote carries 5-0. 3.02, patrons registered to comment on public hearing item. This one, there's nobody registered to comment on this particular matter, so we'll move on to 3.03, resolution number 866, education and operations fund additional appropriation. Mr. Reese.
Thank you, Mr. President, members of the board. Tonight we bring before you Resolution 866, which is an additional appropriation for $5 million in the Education Fund and $1.5 million in the Operations Fund. Remind the board, as we've gone through additional appropriations in the past, these budgets are set previous September and October of 2024 for 2025. We're coming to the end. There's a need for these additional appropriations as we've gone throughout both last school year, finishing that up, and then starting this school year as we got started in 25. Just a reminder that our budgets are a calendar year basis for these funds, not a school year basis. So with that, we've had some unanticipated growth in expenditures. In the area of exceptional education, we have really three areas. One is quite a large growth in the number of students. To give you an idea on the size of that, we have the funding count that's taken for exceptional education is done on December 1st. We just wrapped up that count this past week. We'll finalize that and certify it this week. We've grown by 513 students for that funding count over the last 4 years. To put that in some frame of reference, the actual enrollment growth for the entire school corporation over that same 4-year period is 221 students. So we've had significant growth, not just our regular growth, but growth specifically in exceptional education, which has caused some increased cost. Along with that, we have the state changing the way they fund the excess costs for those students who we place outside of the different district and private facilities. We now have to pay the majority of that cost up front and then get reimbursed from the state. And last but not least is the significant non-growth in the federal Part B grants that we receive from the federal government via the state. The growth has not kept pace with our counts in that grant, and therefore a lot of those expenditures we've had to move out of that grant and into the education fund that we've been anticipating. Another area where we're struggling in the education fund is workers' compensation. Coming out of the COVID years, our growth has been significant, almost 200% growth in our cost for workers' compensation. I have some theories on that, which I don't really want to go into right now, but workers' compensation is an issue for us as we move forward, and we've implemented some strategies to try to contend that growth in those expenditures. And last but not least is the stipend that was approved both for the teacher's contract and also the stipends that were approved for the rest of the staff as a one-time cost for this year. Those things make up the $5 million additional appropriation we're asking for in the education fund. For the operations fund, one of our main drivers in that fund is utility cost. While our utility costs this year are up significantly, it's interesting to note our actual kilowatt hours, which about 75% of our utility cost is made up of electricity, not gas. With that electricity cost, our usage is down almost 10%. Now, our costs, however, are up because of the increase in rates. If you look at over the last 2-year period, even though we've had a decrease in our usage, our utility costs are up almost $1 million. So part of that additional appropriation for the operations fund is derived from the utility increases. And last is workers' compensation. Funds get hit both in education and operations fund, where how our workers' compensation claims are paid. Those are the main things driving the cost. So with that, we're recommending the board approve Resolution 866, additional appropriation in the education fund in the amount of $5 million and $1.5 million in the operations fund, and waive the reading of the resolution.
Thank you, Mr. Reese. Members of the board, you heard the recommendation of the administration that the school board approve resolution number 866, an additional appropriation in the education fund in the amount of $5 million and $1.5 million in the operations fund. May I have a motion?
So moved with the waiving of the reading.
So moved by Mr. Angel with waiving of the reading. Second by Ms. Basin. Are there any questions?
Yes, one, you did a really good job of explaining the special education funding issue and the number of students that have risen with that, utility cost, the NIPSCO rates, et cetera. I didn't quite understand you said you didn't want to get into it. Could you give us a glimpse of the workman's compensation issue?
Yes, I can. So workers' compensation claims have been rising since we had the pandemic. To give you an example, in the 4 years leading up and into the pandemic, our average workers' comp claims were running right around $300,000 on average. In the 4 years since then, including through this year into November, our claims have been 750,000, over $1 million both the last 2 years, and then this year we're tracking at 700, a little over 720,000, with one more month to go in those claims. We've implemented some new procedures and policies regarding claim, I would say, review, incident reports, how those claims happened for those folks who actually not just incur an injury, but also those who actually end up filing a claim for workers' compensation.
Thank you.
Mr. Reese, when you're talking about the cost of NIPSCO, you're talking about the same general cost that all homeowners, renters, individuals who lived in Crown Point have all experienced increased costs in NIPSCO and similar. We feel the same effect.
I would say yes, similar to what we all affect on our homes. However, depends on your usage, obviously.
Sure.
You could be feeling more than we're actually feeling based upon
I'm pretty sure my home does.
your usage,
Yeah,
how your
yeah.
usage. I mean, I'd say this, imagine if we hadn't done the LED upgrades we've done and the other temperature control things we've done with the renovations in our buildings, our usage would also be up along with the rate increase. We'd have some even bigger, more significant issues in utility cost.
And I think it's worthwhile to clarify the workers' compensation component and the increased costs you're talking about. That's not just a payment to an individual. That's including medical care, medical costs. That's everything wrapped up into what goes into a workers' comp case. Is that correct?
That is correct. We are self-insured for workers' compensation.
Thank you, Mr. Reese. Are there any other questions? Okay, we'll move to a vote. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Nays? The vote carries 5-0. 3.04, close public hearing and resume regular meeting. May I have a motion?
So moved.
So moved by Mr. Angel,
Second.
second by Mr. Vassar. Any questions or comments on that? We'll move to a vote. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Nays? The vote carries 5-0. We'll show the public hearing meeting closed and resume the regular business meeting. Moving on to item 4.01, patrons registered to comment on educational issues. Tonight, we have 3 individuals who have signed up to make comment and give comment on issues. Please understand that the board rules allow for 3 minutes of speaking on any particular issue. We try to give you a 30-second warning. So at 2 minutes and 30 seconds, I'll have Ms. Bazin time, and she'll let you know when you have 30 seconds remaining. The first speaker is Megan Anderson. If you could come to the podium so we can hear you.
Hi.
And you can move the mic, go ahead and adjust the
Hi.
microphone.
Who do I talk to you guys? Okay. I'm a mom. I have 3 kids here. One graduated from Crown Point already. One is in high school. And then I have a son that is in 4th grade at Lake Street. So first of all, I wanted to tell you that the program, the ambassador program that Crown Point has is really good. I go to those meetings as much as I can. I work too, so sometimes I can't make them all. That is amazing. However, you guys are in a big problem with funding and class sizes and staff and stuff like that. And I'm here because I'm frustrated and upset. And I just found out yesterday, because I was signed up to buy treats for my son's class, that he now has 29 kids in his class. And he's a 4th grader, he's 10. I'm also an educator. I teach at a different school system. I've taught in many different charter, public, private. So I've done all the gamuts. Anyway, 29 kids in a class size, that's what Gary's doing. And it's not okay. It is not successful. It is not conducive. I know last year I asked for class size numbers and I was told that they're relatively low. I don't know who the relative low number is, but I can tell you firsthand, 29 as a teacher myself, as an administrator that I have been in the past, and as a parent, that's horrible for a 4th grader. So I think that the public and everybody needs to know the class sizes, because I can only assume now with money and funding, the class sizes are going to get only bigger. And I understand through the ambassador program that we have the room and we are prepared for all of those things. But then why is my kid in a class with 29? Also, he is also a special education student who's beautiful and wonderful and has nothing, his issues is reading and writing. So he goes to resource, and I asked him, I said, what do you do in resource and what do you do then? And he tells me, and I said, well, what does your teacher say? And he goes, well, I don't go to her, I go to the other teacher. And so, can I say names? Okay, all right. So he goes at Lake Street. The teacher of his class, his teacher of record, is not giving him his services. The teacher of record for another grade, for another set of grades, is giving him the services. Okay. I have a big problem with that too. And I said, well, why is the case? And they said, well, we have so many kids, which is what you just asked for money, because you have so many kids. We can't service all the kids. So this other teacher that teaches the lower grades is supporting the upper grade teacher because they have such a surplus. That's only going to get worse again. Just like you said, I made notes. I was like, see, this is exactly what my talking point is that there's a huge problem. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Anderson. Next speaker signed up and registered to speak tonight is Susan McKendry. Did I pronounce that correctly? Good evening.
I'm a mother of four. All of my kids attended and graduated through Crown Point High School, and I'm a resident. I got involved in paying attention to what's going on in the city about a year and a half ago, so I've been kind of really keeping a pulse at my fingertips on what's going on in the city. And I just wanted to come before you that I'm concerned about a recent interaction that happened between the school board and a property owner here. The school determined that there was a piece of property supposedly that you no longer needed and you were going to dispose of it, and it went to public auction. I've been told that there was only one bid for that auction. The property was traded for another property in the same area out by the new wastewater treatment plant. I'm concerned about that location and the purpose that you intend to use it for. If we were disposing of a piece of property that we no longer needed, I don't understand why we traded it for a property in the same area. It's concerning. I don't think we should have students out in that area. I know they're thinking about developing homes, and I would never buy one there. I'm also concerned about the way the whole project went down. There were a lot of questions being asked, and we were being put off. I would like to know if this was actually something that the board truly initiated and this was property we didn't need, or if this is something that you were approached by a person who wanted to trade properties with you. That's where I'm at. That's kind of my speculation in my head, and I hope that you're transparent enough to clear the air on that so that we don't have to speculate about what actually happened there.
Thank you, Ms. McKendry. The next speaker registered to vote tonight is Sam Kazaitis, I believe. All right. Thank you, sir.
My name's Sam Kazaitis. I've got two children. I've been here for 54 years. Both my kids are under you. They're graduated and long gone now. About a year and a half ago, same as Susan said, we started watching some different things going on around my home. Started attending city council meetings. Seen a lot of stuff going on in the city of Crown Point that is not up to par. Not good things happening at Crown Point. So this wastewater treatment plant ordeal, we've been following very closely. There's a lot of acreage out there owned by two individuals. There is a lot of things that are not right with that whole area out there. And to learn that the Crown Point Community School Corporation ended up trading property from this individual, Edward J. Hine, for 80 acres for the 54-acre parcel. Even Stephen Deal does not look good to me at all. And the way that this was up for auction, supposedly, and I talked to Mr. Russ today, and he informed me that there was only one bid. And by the way, our conversation, he was very condescending to me, which doesn't sit right with me. It doesn't make sense. 54 acres on 231, which can be easily changed to commercial, basically commercial, is worth a lot more value than 80-acre farmland down the street next to the proposed wastewater treatment plant. You guys need to be more transparent, because this whole bidding process and the way it was advertised in the paper and what's been put out, which is not very much has been put out, makes you guys, makes the public question what's really going on behind the scenes. This is taxpayers' dollars that are being used. Now you've taken 80 acres out of the city of Crown Point off the tax roll. Granted, it's farmland, 80 acres. It's not much, but it's still 80 acres off the tax roll in Crown Point to put it on, and to put it on Winfield's tax roll. The 54 acres is going to go on Winfield's or Lake County. It's not Crown Point. So that, I have a problem with that. I asked a lot of questions, and I really had to dig to get answers to this problem. As a taxpayer and a resident of Crown Point, those are my tax funds being spent on that. I shouldn't have to go around digging. You guys need to be more transparent. And the less transparency you guys have for the public makes the public question you a lot more.
Thank you, Mr. Kazanis. We're going to close out the patrons registered to comment on educational issues section. I believe Dr. Terrell's going to make a comment at this time.
Yeah, so as board members realize, we don't go back and forth typically with constituents as they come to make comments at a board meeting. That's not the intention of the meeting. But tonight I would like to address the concerns that have been brought up. We followed every transparent process that we're required to do by law to make sure that this was listed appropriately. We went through all the proper how we go through all of that to make sure it's there. Reasons for this, we increased our real estate portfolio by over $400,000. This board, not all of you, I believe Mr. Angel was a part of the board back in 2005, 2006, purchased several different pieces of real estate and had the foresight to do that, and I commend them for that. One of those sites is actually where Colonel Taft is, or where Taft is now, where we were able to match middle school meeting the same square footage as Colonel Wheeler. So as we looked at that 53, I believe it is, acres out off of 231, there are some real challenges that go with that land that were not necessarily a concern in 2006, one being school safety, and if you ever have an incident, and how you get people in and out of the property. As you guys know, if you've driven 231 headed to Hebron, that is a racetrack at times, and people are flying on that road. We would at best get 2 entrances onto that road. Still concerning pulling buses out and that kind of traffic coming out. Had an opportunity to pursue some different land that would give us access north, south, very quickly to the east, or to the west, excuse me, and would allow us to have additional space where, as we've learned from all of the building and things that we've been doing over the last 3 or 4 years, would give us runoff into wetlands without having to do additional purchase of properties, without having to have it just is much more suitable for what we would need. Also gives us access that we would need as well. So wastewater treatment plants, further development, this simply came down to what was best for our district, for our students, for our teachers, for our community members. Access of pulling out on the roads. If you've been around our schools, that's been a major thing that we've worked on with all the renovations, is getting people off of the roads when they're picking up their kids before and after school. And therefore, we decided to put out there and see, because we knew that there was a time where there were different land possible availabilities. We also knew that we needed to have something that was 70 acres or more, just based off of what current research indicates the amount of acreage you would need for a school. This would put us right where we would want to be as far as acreage goes. As far as who bid, what that looked like, we followed the legal processes. And that's where we ended up with it, with the board resolution that was passed, allowing us to pursue that, and that's what we did. Feel really good about the property that we're getting, and the possibilities in the future if we need to add another school or schools or other different possible facilities. We've got the land now out there in a spot where we can do that. Proximity, all of those things matter as far as when it comes to building schools. So.
And Dr. Terrell, just to clarify on that, just so that the public is aware, we follow the procedures that were mandated by the state on processes because we're a school corporation.
That is absolutely correct.
Meaning that, we're also, had values of both properties.
We did, had assessed values of both of them in. Actually, the land, the 53-ish acres came in at just over 1 million, like 1,500,000 or 50,000. The other one, the 80 acres, came in at 1.4-ish. So we actually ended up increasing the value of our portfolio.
Thank you for clarifying.
Yep.
Any other statements? Anybody want to respond? If you hang around at the end, the board has a section, if you wish to stay, other business of the board, and perhaps some of the board members will comment or add their thoughts to the end of the meeting. Okay. You can stick around, and we'd be more than happy to talk after the meeting, if that's okay. So. Item 5.01, November 24th, 25, regular business meeting minutes, 5.02, the personal agenda. Sorry, 5.03, voucher register check numbers 178-818 through 179-088, and vouchers number 309-060 through 309-597. Dr. Terrell.
Thank you. As Mr. Smith mentioned, I would ask for your consideration this evening to approve the consent item, including 5.01, 5.02, and 5.03.
Thank you, Dr. Terrell. You've heard the recommendation of the administrations for approval of the regular business meeting minutes of November 24th, 2025, the personal agenda, and voucher register check numbers 178-818 through 179-088, and vouchers 309-060, 309-597. May I have a motion? So moved by Ms. Bazin. Second by Mr. Angel. Any questions or comments?
Yes, I have two questions concerning the personnel agenda. Question one is, I don't even really know if it's a question or maybe just a statement, that we seem to every month have a turnover. I've been saying this since I've been on the board, of special education paraprofessionals. Being a former principal, being a former special needs teacher, the consistency of having the same adults in the same classroom is paramount to success for these students. What can we do to retain our paras? I know that's probably a question you can't answer in one sentence, but what can we do?
And Mr. Vassar, as we've said before, we work with those individuals. There are just times where they get in the rooms and realize what the job is, that they're not interested in doing so. There's other times that different opportunities arise. We continue to work through that as well, to continue to try and get the best people we can in those classrooms.
Okay, I don't, one of them I know, according to what is in front of me here, was hired on a Friday and resigned on Monday.
That's correct. She went in, observed the room, realized that was not the job for her, and decided she was going to take a different position.
I just wonder if there's something we can do to screen these people for their passion for the role. I don't know what that would be, but it's discouraging to see this month after month. Second question I have, if you go to something caught my attention on section G of appointments for ECA, which is extracurricular activities. Maybe I'm reading this wrong, but it seems, as it's written, section G, number 3 and number 8, I'm not sure how one person can be the coach of two different teams at the same time. Or am I reading that incorrectly?
We can get information for that and get it back to you. Yeah.
Oh, thank you, Mr. Angel. Those are two different people?
I'm not sure, but they are spelled differently, and I think they are players, sisters.
Thank you. Thank you for that clarification. I didn't, okay. One letter difference there. Okay, thank you so much.
Any other questions or comments?
Yes, I'd like to just comment that there's a retiring teacher from Lake Street, and I'm sure she'll be given plenty of credit as time goes on. But Ms. Kelly Foster has been an amazing teacher to several of my family members. She's shown a passion for teaching that's been, teachers are all passionate, but, no different than anything in life. Some people just take it to a different level with a different touch, and she's been amazing, so wish her the best of luck.
Thank you, Mr. Warning. Well said. Good catch there. Anybody else? Questions or comments? All right, if there be no further questions or comments, we'll move to a vote. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Nays?
Nay.
And the ayes carry 4-1 with Mr. Vassar dissenting. Moving on to action item 6.01, course additions, Crown Point High School 2026-2027. Mrs. Ramirez, who's making her way up.
Thank you, Mr. President and board members. I'm here tonight to request that the board consider approving the following 3 course additions for offering in 26-27 at Crown Point High School. The 3 courses that we are requesting are in the Performing Arts Department, Theater Production, in the Fine Arts Department, AP 3D Art and Design, and in the Mathematics Department, AP Pre-Calculus. These 3 courses would allow us to continue and finalize the course pathways as well as expand our AP offerings, which is the advanced placement offerings that our students are able to take while at Crown Point High School. So it is the administration's recommendation that the school board approve the course additions at Crown Point High School for the 26-27 school year.
Thank you, Mrs. Ramirez. Board members, you heard the recommendation of the administration for approval of the course additions at Crown Point High School for the 2026-2027 school year. May I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
So moved by Ms. Basin and second by Mr. Angel. Are there any questions or comments?
I just wanted to point out, just for the public who can't see the detail item that we have, did note no additional staff were needed, and I think that with budget being kind of first and foremost on everyone's mind, that's really important to note, just so the public is aware as we make our vote.
And just, Mr. Ramirez, just for, like, past approvals, we approved a long time 3D art printers. We already have all that in place, correct?
Yes, a lot of times the 3D art printers are used in robotics and in STEM courses. The AP 3D art will be more 3-dimensional, so it could be like pottery, it could be sculpture. I'm not going to say that they're not using the 3D printers, but the 3D printers are also used in other areas of our course offerings.
Great, thank you.
Since no additional teaching staff would be required, are any courses being dropped then to?
No, these courses, so the theater production course and the AP 3D art are the continuation of a series of courses so that our students can complete a graduation diploma pathway. And then the AP pre-calculus is simply an additional offering. It is replacing the current honors pre-calculus.
So it's just a replacement?
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
Any other questions or comments? All right. Move to a vote. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Nays? The vote carries 5-0. Thank you, Mrs. Ramirez. Moving on to item 6.02, resolution number 867, 1 million transfer from the rainy day to education. Mr. Reese.
Thank you, Mr. President, members of the board. Tonight we have Resolution 867, which is a $1 million transfer from the rainy day fund to the education fund. As part of our discussions with the negotiation process this year and the stipends that you approved. With that, we mentioned the idea that we needed to have a $1 million transfer from that rainy day fund to the education fund to cover those expenses. So with that tonight, We are recommending approval of Resolution 867, the $1 million transfer from the rainy day fund to the education fund, and waiving the reading of the resolution.
Board members, you heard the recommendation of the administration for approval of resolution number 867, 1 million transfer from the rainy day fund to the education fund and waive the reading of the resolution. May I have a motion? So moved by Mr. Warning. Second by Ms. Basin. Are there any questions or comments?
The comment, I would reluctantly say yes to this, but again, as I said last month, I'm disappointed for our teachers. They couldn't receive more than just that, especially when you look just to the west of us and look at the raise those teachers got. You look at the raise they just received up in Porter County. So I'll reluctantly say yes, but our teachers deserve much, much more.
Mr. Vassar, as you're aware, as we went through this process, our teachers are still paid higher than all of those districts around us. Difference is that we invested in those teacher salaries beginning 4 years ago to get to the point where we are today, where they have seen a $16,000 on addition to the base over those 4 years. So we appreciate the fact that as we met with our teachers through the negotiation process, through the transparency of that process, that they understood exactly where we are and were in support of this.
Okay.
Thank you.
I will not retract my comment. I believe that they deserve more. I'll always
We all
believe
do.
that.
We all do. There's no comments from the audience.
Any other comments or questions from the board? All right. Move to a vote. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Nays? Vote carries 5-0. 6.03 restatement of 403B plan, Mr. Reese.
Thank you, Mr. President, members of the board. Tonight, we bring before you a restatement of our 403B plan. Secure Act 2.0 takes effect January 1 of 2026. So with that, there are some changes that we need to make within our plan. Tonight, one of the first changes we need to talk about are Roth contributions. What this plan does is address the Roth contributions from the standpoint of, at a later date, you'll have the ability to implement Roth. We have chosen not to implement Roth 403B in our plan currently, but it is part of the Secure Act 2.0. Along with that, with the change we made in the teacher contract by giving the teachers the option to choose in the 403B, receiving those sick days over and above the 110. Prior to that, there was no choice. It was an employer contribution. Now with that change, we need to make a change in the 403B plan because now the employee has that choice of how they receive those funds. Along with that, there's some additional Roth, some catch-up contributions, as well as higher earner loans and financial hardship regulations that are changed throughout the course of the Secure Act 2.0, as well as required minimum distributions in the case of the death of a spouse. So all those things take effect with this and brings our plan in compliance with all the new regulations. So with that, we recommend approval of the Crown Point Community School Corporation 403B plan effective January 1, 2026.
Thank you, Mr. Reese. Board members, you heard the recommendation of the administration for approval of the Crown Point Community School Corporation 403 plan effective January 1st, 2026, and those modifications. May I have a motion? So moved. So moved by Mr. Angel. Second by Mr. Warney. Are there any questions or comments?
Question, the narrative doesn't define under Roth contributions and under, excuse me, higher earner catch-up contributions, what, lost my place, I'm sorry. Higher earners, is there a monetary amount attached to, what does that mean, higher earners?
What section are you referring to, Mr. Bass?
Under section 1, initially Roth contributions, it'd be in the, does it define it? 15? I just wanted a definition of what that means. I don't know what that means.
Every year, the IRS releases what that number is. It varies from year to year. Obviously, like most things, it goes up each year. But every year, that amount does vary.
Do you know what it, I mean, I have no idea. Do you know what it is for 2025 or?
I don't off the top of my head. I have to get that information for the rest of the board.
I'm just really curious. I don't have any question about it. I'm just curious about what it means.
If you guys could send those earlier, we can make sure that we have that information readily available, but we'll get that for you.
Any other questions or comments? This, this particular change, I mean, allowing Roth contributions, benefits the employees, correct?
So let's make clear what this does. This implements the ability to do Roth once the board passes a second resolution later down the road.
Understood.
We will not have Roth available to us, but it would be another option for our employees if and when we make that decision.
So if that decision is approved in the future, then the employees will make the determination of what goes towards traditional, what goes towards Roth.
Essentially,
It gives them the flexibility to choose how to put away their retirement savings.
correct, whether it be pre-tax or post-tax, and that's what Roth is post-tax.
Correct. I just want to make sure that's on the record. Any other questions or comments? All right, move to a vote. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Nay. Vote carries 5-0. 6.04 garbage and recycling contract, Mr. Reese.
Thank you, Mr. President. Members of the board, our current contract for our garbage and recycling expires at the end of January. So with that, we sent out requests for proposals from vendors, and this would start on February 1st of 2026. We did receive 2 quotes, one from Republic Services, who currently has the business. Our annual cost for that is approximately $81,000, varies based upon the tonnage, if you will, of amount of garbage and waste that we do have. The other proposal was received from Waste Management. You'll notice that the winning quote was at $58,000. That's a about $23,000 reduction over the current prices that we're paying. So in a rare turn of events, we're actually paying less for a service. It just goes to show why we do quote out everything that we do and bids when we're responsible for that. So with that, we're recommending the contract be awarded to Public Services in the amount of $58,449 for district-wide waste management and recycling.
Thank you, Mr. Reese. You've heard the recommendation of administration that the contract be awarded to Republic Services in the amount of $58,449 for district-wide waste management and recycling. May I have a motion? So moved by Ms. Basin. Second by Mr. Angel. Are there any questions or comments? Mr. Reese, the only question I had is just how long this contract is for. I didn't see the time frame. If you're aware, or do you know when it came up last?
I'd have to get back.
That's okay.
Yeah.
All right.
3 year.
3 years.
That's a 3-year contract. I missed that. I'm sorry. I must have
Last
looked at-
sentence.
Right, worth noting, since you asked that question too, is the 3% cap is, and it stated here, the increase is, lower than industry average, absolutely. So that's a win-win.
Good work on that. Anybody else?
It's amazing difference between the 2 bids. Amazing.
Any other questions? All right, move to a vote. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Nays? Vote carries 5-0. 6.05, year-end business office procedures, Mr. Reese.
Thank you, Mr. President, members of the board. Tonight, we ask the approval we ask every year. And what that allows us to do is, as you're aware, we are not able to pay claims unless they're for utilities or reoccurring claims every month until we have your approval. What we're asking for tonight is approval to pay those claims between now and this board meeting with the claims you approved tonight. But then also any claims we might incur between now and December 31st as we close out our year. Along with that, we also ask your approval to allow us to do any fund transfers as necessary to zero out our funds, close those funds out as we get to the close of a calendar year. As always, and every year we've done that, once anything that is transacted in accordance with this procedures will be brought to you at the January board meeting for your formal final approval. So with that, we're recommending approval to issue checks prior to board approval and temporary interfund transfers if necessary, and some permanent transfers to close out the funds. For December, all checks issued after the closing date at the regular meeting docket in December will be brought to the school board at the January meeting and will be included in the January claim docket.
Thank you, Mr. Reese. Administration recommends approval to issue checks prior to board approval and temporary interfund transfers if necessary for December. All checks issued after the closing date of the regular meeting docket in December will be brought to the school board. The meeting will be included on the January claim docket. You heard the recommendation for approval. May I have a motion?
So moved.
So moved by Mr. Vassar. Second by Mr. Warning. Are there any questions or comments? There being no questions or comments, we'll move to a vote. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Nays? Vote carries 5-0. Moving on to item 6.06, bank reconciliation adjustment of $23.90. Mr. Reese.
Thank you, Mr. President, members of the board. Tonight, we bring before you a request to transfer $23.90 from the operations fund to cover a bank reconciliation we've been carrying since October of 2024. The last time we did this was in June of 2023. So you imagine the number of transactions we have. We get to a certain point where we just can't get it to reconcile. We've had every month since January of 23 reconcile, except that October of 24, where we were off that $23.90. Every other month has been down to the penny. So with that, we're recommending the approval of the adjustment of $23.90 to balance our bank reconciliations.
Thank you, Mr. Reese. Board members, you heard the recommendation of the administration for approval and adjustment of $23.90 to balance our bank reconciliations. May I have a motion?
So moved.
So moved by Mr. Angel, second by Ms. Bazin. Are there any questions or comments? With there being no questions or comments, we'll move to a vote. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Nays? Vote carries 5-0. Moving on to item 7, recognition items, superintendent's discussion groups.
Nothing for Cedar Lake, thank you.
Nothing for Cedar Lake. Anything from Winfield?
No, sir.
And Mr. Vassar, anything from Crown Point?
Crown Point redevelopment met a week ago tonight. There was nothing in the meeting that pertains to the schools whatsoever.
Thank you, Mr. Vassar. We'll move on to item 7.02, Director Elementary Education, Dr. Kachina.
Thank you, Mr. President and members of the board. At this time of year, the holiday season, our elementary students are learning some really powerful lessons about service to others and kindness through efforts like Angel Tree, food drives, different community projects, and much more. And when we combine those experiences with our academic goals, I think you could see our culture of high expectations and full hearts every day across our 7 elementary schools. And really this month, I just want to thank our students, our staff members, our teachers, administrators, and our families for all their hard work. We saw a lot of growth in 2025, and I just feel very grateful that I get to work alongside so many dedicated people working to support the growth of thousands of our elementary students. There are so many things that make Crown Point schools special, but it really is the people that make it exceptional. So thank you very much. I wish you all a happy holidays, Merry Christmas, and a Happy New Year.
Thank you, Dr. Kachina. Same to you as well. Moving on to item 7.03, Director of Secondary Education, Mrs. Ramirez.
Thank you, Mr. President and board members. Like Dr. Chiquina, I really want to thank the elementary schools for starting the philanthropy and this citizenship that they really instill in our students, that we are then able to continue in the secondary space, both at the middle school and the high school. The giving and really the community focus for our students, our teachers that really help implore needs and identify needs, and then we of course implore our students to help, our families to help, is more than evident at this time of year. To thank our teachers, our staff, our administrators, our students, really for the citizenship that they embody here in Crown Point. I also want to thank them for the courage that they show, that they try challenging things, they try new things. We are always embracing new ideas, looking at hard work, what are the current needs, and working together as a team to address those. College and career continues to be an area of focus for us as well, and I'm very thankful to our students and our teachers at the middle school level who start really to explore college and career readiness, and all the way through our high school experience, whether that is through our CTE programming, dual credit programming, AP programming, extracurriculars. There are so many opportunities for our students to explore what they will do in their post-secondary space. creativity is the next area, and I think that we saw that really exemplified tonight by our two young artists who did a wonderful job using a skill set that not all of us have, myself included. I could not do what they did, but I just embrace the creativity that exists here in Crown Point. As Dr. Chiquina mentioned, connection is another really important part of what we do here in Crown Point that I think makes us special. The connection that our teachers have to our students and to our families, the opportunity for our families to engage at the building level when they have questions or concerns or to volunteer. And lastly, all of those were 5 C's if you were counting. I end with the 6th C, which is culture. And I really do believe in the culture that we have established here in Crown Point, and that it is really due to a compilation of all of those who I've thanked, plus our families working together to make sure that we do everything we can to provide the best educational opportunities for our students and the best curricular experience for our students. So at this time of year, I just thank everybody for the hard work and for all that has been accomplished during first semester, and wish all of you guys a happy holiday.
Thank you, Mrs. Ramirez. Happy holidays to you as well. Moving on to item 7.04, Director of Exceptional Education, Mrs. Vasquez.
Good evening, President Smith, members of the board. I wanted to talk a little bit more about what Mr. Reese spoke about with the special ed count. So as we kind of come every year and say at this time, is we have grown by at least 60 students. We're still cleaning up the count. As you've heard earlier this year, we have a brand new IEP system that the count is now pulled out of. So up in our office, we have twice gone through almost 1,600 students hand by hand and made sure everybody is in the system correctly to secure the appropriate funding. So we are still working through a couple errors with the state, and then there's the additional students who have speech as a secondary disability, so that brings our total to over 2,100 students or services being received. I also wanted to share this t-shirt. The high school exceptional ed staff created it as like a disability awareness acceptance, and I think the cool thing is one of our students designed it, and so they're selling this across the board, but it's we embrace, we include, we are CP, and his name is around the heart. So if you're interested in ordering one, let me know. I can send you the link. That's it.
How much are
Happy
the shirts?
holidays.
Yes.
I'd have to
Or
double
Ms.
check and
Vasquez?
get back to you. There's a shipping charge because it comes right to your house.
They deliver it right to the house.
Right to your house.
Wonderful. Thank you, Mrs.
Happy
Vasquez.
holidays.
Happy holidays. 7.05, Assistant Superintendent, Mr. Gianfermi.
Thank you, Mr. President, board members. As we're staring down new assessment requirements, new accountability models, and new diploma requirements, I, like my colleagues, like to just pause that they'll be there as the new year comes, and they're working very hard to prepare our teachers and our staffs and our students for all those things that are tidal wave that's hitting us. But I'd like to think about this time of year and all the things that our staff and students and our families are doing for the community. There is no shortage of angel trees, food drives, clothes drives, volunteering time to go out and sing and perform for the community. Some of those community partners that have received some of the gifts from our students, Christian Village, American Heart Association, St. Jude House, Food Bank of Northwest Indiana, CP Food Pantry, Best Buddies program of Crown Point, the Bickford Senior Living, the Buddy Bag program from the Community Help Network, giving bags of food out to our families. So in the 20 years I've been here, that has been the norm. And I really do appreciate the school community coming around to help support. And it's not just the school, but it's the families, it's the community, everyone coming together and really understanding what's important this time of season. So their generosity and charity is really, really appreciated. I do want to point out one special thing that I noticed happening at one of our elementary schools. On December 5th at MacArthur Elementary School, it was Wear Blue Day. Everybody at the school was invited to wear blue so they could celebrate the second graders' final chemotherapy session. And that second grader was allowed to go through the hallways, and there was a celebration of everybody lined up in the hallways, cheering them on, ringing bells, celebrating this milestone for that young man. And Cedar Lake Police Department was out there also to help celebrate that milestone. MacArthur Elementary, they really do try to take care of their students, and I was just out there to speak for Student of the Month, which they do monthly, and it's just a great atmosphere that Ms. Bucko and her staff has created out there for the families and students out there. We really appreciate them doing that extra mile for that student. And with that, I just want to wish everybody happy holidays.
Thank you, Mr. G. Fermi. Happy holidays to you. And that is incredible when you see that type of community and the feel and the care for the students. So thanks for sharing that. 7.06, Chief Human Resource Officer, Mr. Kiwa.
Thank you, Mr. President and board members. Just want to thank Mr. Gianformi for bringing up that fact. I would just need to echo my appreciation as well for all organizations in our school community. It's just amazing how folks rally to help others. It's just very, very impressive. I just want to speak to one unique event I was able to attend at Taft Middle School. In the last week, Mary Jones, science teacher of 7th grade, they had an energy resource presentation day where the students talked about renewable or non-renewable energy sources as they were starting their own towns. And guests, visitors came in and served as their city councils to choose or vote on the energy source that they would like to use in their city. And the students gave a presentation in front of their classes talking about their energy source and why it would be the best one for the city council to select. So I just want to thank Mrs. Jones for having me out, one of many folks as a guest city council member. They did a fantastic job, and congratulations for all the students. It's hard presenting to a group live, especially, you know, some adult strangers that show up in the room from central office, but they were just amazing, and it was an enjoyable day for me. And also best wishes for everybody this holiday season. Thanks.
Same to you. Mr. Kiwa, thank you. 7.07, Chief Financial Officer, Mr. Reese.
Thank you, Mr. President, members of the board. I have two this evening. One is Mrs. Pascas and her staff commenting as she did regarding the identifying of all those students with the new IEP system. It was an unbelievable undertaking that she and her staff went through. Along with that, Tammy Loosemore and the student information staff from the technology department, coordination of those two to making sure that we identify and count and therefore get funding for every single one of those students that we provide services to. They went above and beyond this year working with that new system that was more than difficult to confirm all those students. The second one is, as we talked about the waste management contract this evening, Mr. Mulaski spent a lot of time and effort going through that and working with Republic to get those costs down for that contract. I want to make sure we recognize him tonight for working through that process. Along with that, we wish everybody happy holidays and an enjoyable couple weeks here.
Thank you, Mr. Reese. Same to you and your family. Item 7.08, Director of Communications, Mrs. Allen.
Thank you. Good evening. I know it's really hard to believe, but you can go ahead and mark your calendars for kindergarten enrollment. Before I leave for the holidays every year, my goal is to finish our kindergarten marketing and get it all wrapped up and ready to go for when we come back. So February 24th, we will welcome the class of 2039. Yeah, right. Kind of amazing. And then I also want to thank our blended instructional design team and some of our teachers at the high school who helped with our latest ambassador program that we had in December. This is a visit that we take to the high school. We talk about instructional technology and how we use technology to teach students, that it's not replacing a teacher ever, but it's truly implementing what we do in the classroom in a different and innovative way. I think one of my things about that session is we encourage our ambassadors to use one of our clear touch screens, and they approach it very timidly at first, but then once they start using it, everyone is, you know, all hands on the screens and really interacting with it as our students interact with it. And I love to watch that process. And then we take a tour of our industrial tech classes, so precision machining and auto, robotics, which is in, of course, a fantastic new space that serves them so much better than before. And we also peek inside our new CNA room. It's just an opportunity for people to really see what some of those programs look like and to interact and hear directly from some of our students. So thank you to them.
Thank you, Mrs. Allen. 7.09, Superintendent of Schools, Dr. Terrell.
Thank you. This time of the year gives me opportunity to be out in buildings even more intentionally than other times of the year with busy schedules, but to see and be reminded of all the wonderful things that are happening in our buildings, the giving parts that have been brought up, the spirit of giving for our kids, and our teachers, our staff, our parents. We understand that many of them are, and it can be everything from angel trees to being able to decorate lockers for a donation to go in addition to the angel tree. Just, it's amazing to see how our kids and families and community continue to give over and over again. Also, again, just want to thank, we've had so many incredible programs throughout the district for the Christmas season. This past weekend was no exception at the high school with the Saturday and Sunday performance. Just amazing things, and what our kids continue to do and how they perform never ceases to amaze me. They're just, and all those who pour into them to get them there. Also, just want to wish all of you Merry Christmas. Thank the board for your leadership and what you do to help support our school corporation, and appreciate it very much. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Terrell. Same to you and your family as well. We'll move on to item 8.01, other business of the board. Do we have anything tonight, Mr. Warney?
How is, oh, sorry.
Oh, go ahead.
How is the, strategic planning group coming together?
Yeah, so we have, that group has been formed now. We have, the surveys are in full swing, according to Steve Horton, the gentleman from ISBA who's helping us with that. He's very pleased by the number of participants that have taken that. So we're in a really good spot for our meetings coming up in January as we begin that process.
Great, thank you.
Anybody else?
I just have some thoughts about that. I'd like all of you to pitch in if you will. First, the class sizes, and it's been absolutely something that we've all thought is as important as anything for the last since 2012 when I've been involved. In the late spring, early summer, Mr. Q, if you remember, you put a 30, 45-minute presentation together for us that I'm sure took hours to prepare, and it was like a spreadsheet, a graph of where, I'll use my example that I was focused on that day. I have a kindergarten at Lake Street, and at that time, the Lake Street enrollment for that grade, it looked like there was going to be, a class, an extra class where there were going to be 16 to 20 kids, and then as the numbers came in, we didn't get enough kids to fill that. And it turned out being, well, we have to eliminate one of those, and it's going to be 20 to 20 or 18 to 22 or whatever it may be. And bring this up as we know we've talked through a lot, but we need to share. And I appreciate when someone does come to comment with the understanding that they're coming to comment to get the information that they haven't been able to get yet. And so, that presentation today, I felt like we left here like, wow, we're about as sweet in the sweet spot of class size that we've been in a while. Finally all the buildings have been done, and of course there's some high spots, and I'm not sure about specific fourth grade class at Lakeshore. I don't know, but it's concerning. But what we've learned as board members is there's probably a why, there's probably a reason. It could have been one of those scenarios where we didn't have enough students to go to a whole nother and add an additional class. So, but I think as a parent, it would be nice to just receive those answers on a very, not casual conversation, but hey, why is, I think as a board member, we've learned to really trust the process. That doesn't mean we don't ask questions about the process, but we do trust the process. It doesn't always work out exactly the way it was supposed to with enrollments and things like that, but I do think that somewhere there's an answer, and anyone who asks that question deserves to get the answer. So I don't keep rambling about it, but I do think that it should not be ignored that it's a very, very, very important component. And when budget gets brought up, I think that was brought up in the earlier conversation as well, and cuts, and there's no doubt that there's hard times coming, but also, again, please chime in. We've asked these questions. We know that that's the last thing that can happen. It could happen. We don't know what's going to happen ultimately. Anybody up here doesn't ultimately know what's going to happen. But I do believe we all agree it's the last thing that could happen is getting those class sizes going back up again. The other thought I wanted to comment on again is just that we appreciate receiving the comments. I don't have a lot of social media activity myself, but with the land swap, first question I asked that day, we came in, we were presented the information, we have this opportunity. My question, how in the world could that property be, worth more than this property with high frontage, but the questions are answered, money spent for appraisals, and, it happens with thought put into it and resources and, answers provided. So we don't just walk in, I'm speaking for myself, I don't just walk in and say, yep, that sounds good, sign off. I agree, it's like, it didn't make sense, but for us as a school corporation, once it was explained to me and once the assessment was done, or appraisal, I should say, it did make sense. So, I mean, I just wanted to address that myself. I'm sure you guys might have some thoughts as well.
Well, I'll just chime in about the class size. Having been a second grade teacher, class size is extremely important. And I recall the exact presentation you were talking about, because for me, class size is always like, hey, how can we get those a little bit smaller? How can we get those closer to, how they were before we've experienced this, kind of insane growth of the last 15 years. And, the whole graph shows where this is how many kids and this is what it does. If you do a teacher here, pull a teacher there, there's some cohorts where it's like, we have a random age group that there's way more kids in that and they need a fifth teacher, and then they don't another year, and kids come in later, kids don't register who we thought would register. And so it's a little bit, it gets a little bit trickier than it seems. But from a school board perspective and with regards to budget cuts, I can echo Mr. Warney's thoughts on, increased class sizes beyond what we have would definitely be an absolute last resort. And with regards to the folks who had kind of mentioned that they've been paying a lot of attention, they're very interested. I highly recommend checking out our ambassador program for the next group that comes through. I think it's really beneficial. I know before I was on the board and when I was teaching, and I kind of paid attention to board meetings, and sometimes it would be like, wait, what's happening there? And it's easy to kind of feel like, oh, I think they pulled a fast one and there's a land swap thing. I think the more you kind of understand the whole process and the pieces that go into it, and everything is multi-layered in ways that don't necessarily, not every detail is pertinent in the moment. But I think as you guys kind of go through, I hope that you trust that your board is asking questions on your behalf to make sure that we are spending your taxpayer dollars in the best way possible. So I encourage you, if you're a continued interest in checking things out, Ambassador Program is really a great way to get some extra info if you're feeling like a little bit in the dark on some things. But we do appreciate your trust and you sharing concerns, respectfully. When you do have them, we're definitely all ears. So thank you guys.
Mr. Engel, Mr. Vassar.
Forward to hearing what you have to say after the meeting. I think that's healthy. I'd like to see more. There's so many meetings that go by that nobody says a word. And you're out there trying to educate yourself and digging. That's a great thing. Isn't it what we want our students to do? So thank you for doing that. I look forward to hearing what you have to say in a few minutes.
Mr. Angel, you have anything? All right, I'm going to add to what Mr. Warney said, and just piggyback off that. Having had children that went through the school corporation at 22 years old, and one's 20 now, I can remember a time when Lake Street class sizes around the age that you shared today were over 30, legitimately 33, 34. So that was a point of contention for me when I got on the board, was we need smaller classes. I still believe 29. I think all of us would. And as David pointed out, there were a few classes as we went through that. I remember they were a little higher, and perhaps that's one that fell into that bunch for some reason. I can assure you that, and everybody else, that we do the best we can with class sizes, and I just want to echo the sentiments. That's really important to us, and always has been a thorn in my sides when my child went through and had 33, 34 in an elementary school at a young age. That's a problem. So mindful of it. 29 is too many. I'm sure they're doing the best they can with it. Some classes are just larger than others, and I don't know why. I mean, there's different reasons for it, but it just happens. And I'm talking about a third grade in a particular elementary school. And I just want to remind everyone too, just 2 years ago, we went through a redistricting to try to manage class size for that exact reason. So I know the board's not afraid to act, or the administration, and do what they can to the best of their ability to keep that class size down. So, and again, we could speak later too. I'm happy to answer any questions we can on that. As far as the swap, I think it's important to just understand that when we built the new middle school, there were studies done about all the different properties that were owned by the school corporation and what would be suitable for buildings, what would be suitable for schools. And some of the properties we own are not really conducive now. Maybe they were 20 years ago when they bought or they were acquired. And so it was a determination like, hey, we need to move off this because there's no sense in that. Let's find land or property that makes sense for what we need as a school corporation, setting aside what anybody else might need it for, what it could become, what it might be. That doesn't matter to us as education in the education field because we're limited in what we can do with property. And so we look at it from a valuation standpoint. And I can only tell you, when we look at it and go, what's best for the school corporation? What is the value of these properties? And when you're told that it's worth $400,000 when both properties are vacant, that's an easy determination for us. And then step two is, what is it conducive? What can it be used for in the future? Well, for us, we wanted to look for educational purposes. Well, one was clearly better than the other. So for me personally, it just became a no-brainer. There was nothing, whether it was perceived to be hidden, I don't know enough about it. I'm just telling you, it wasn't intended to be hidden. I mean, I'm just going to say it. So as Dr. Terrell said, we had public meetings, nobody came. We did all the notices, nobody came. And so there was nothing intentional about hiding anything. And I can't make, I'll talk to you afterwards and get any comments to get back with you. Okay. But I can't take comment at this time, unfortunately, just because of the rules that we have. But I'm happy to meet, like I said before, and take any questions and try to get information back to you that are inquired. But that's really what it comes down to. So I know there's a lot surrounding this outside of our school corporation too, and I'm just telling you from our perspective and what the decision was made. That's how it was made. So, yeah, so hopefully that helps. The last thing I just want to say, just on Mr. Vassar's comment with the teacher salary, again, I think just, I can remember a few years ago, 3-4 years ago, we passed two, I think $6,000 stipends in a row back to back for our school teachers that were not stipends. They became salary.
Yeah, the base.
And so it was a base salary increase that was significant. I think at one point we were top 4 in the state paying our teachers, and I think we're still very high and probably the highest in this area. So I don't think this is a matter of trying to harm teachers and at all. I think it's a budgetary issue for us. And so the stipends may be a little bit lower than typical or standard, but I also understand that, that's collective bargaining. Everybody understood it. They presented it to us and it passed. And that's my understanding is what was asked for. So it's very important to me that our teachers understand that. And I hope we have enough clout through the years to understand that we're not trying to harm our teachers. We want to take care of our teachers. We want to hire the best teachers. We want to keep the best teachers right here in Crown Point. So I think that needs to be said. Anybody else? All right. Then we'll move to item 9, board statements of appreciation and recognition, 9.01. Mr. Warney, tonight, you have anything?
No, Merry Christmas, everybody, and hope you have a Happy New Year. See you in January.
Thank you. You too. Mr. Angel.
My sentiments exactly. Enjoy the holiday season with family and friends and count your blessings for what we have.
Yeah. Thank you. Mr. Vassar.
Yes, it was my good fortune to have a great friendship with Dale McLemore. Dale was one of our bus drivers who passed away on Thanksgiving Day. Great friend of mine, a man of few words, but a well of wisdom. Just a great individual. He saw this is his retirement gig, as he used to say. But he saw it as an opportunity to make a difference, and he did. It was a class act, a man who would never do anything to embarrass himself, his family, his employer, just full of integrity. I really miss Dale. Shared a lot of time with Dale, got to know Dale quite well. There was at Dale's funeral, there was a young boy, Crown Point student, that expressed his remorse and his condolences. And Dale's impact was said with this boy's statement that he's the reason I wanted to get on that bus every day. That just hit home with me. You never know what kind of difference you're making. Dale met his goal of making a difference. So his wife Debbie and his kids and his grandkids, already expressed my condolences to them, but I want to do that publicly as well. We lost a really great employee and a really great person, and I look forward to seeing Dale again. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Vassar. Ms. Mason?
Well, you guys know I get long-winded with my statements of appreciation, and I did miss the last meeting because I was sick, and it was November, where I wanted to share how grateful I was, and that now we're at the holidays, and I'm continued in my gratefulness. So I do just want to say, and I kind of want to piggyback on what Mr. Vassar said. I think that the impact that Dale, kind of giving that example of what that impact is for one student, I'm so incredibly grateful not only to serve on this board with amazing board members, amazing cabinet, but when I look at every one of our employees across the corporation. So the pride that I have that my kids get to go to school here, that I have 4 kids, I've got elementary, middle school, high school, that run the gamut, and that my kids get to interact with awesome people on the bus. They get to interact with amazing people in the hall greeting them. They have literally the world's best teacher. So I'm not really sure how that is that we have all of the best teachers and all of my kids have had them. But it really is a testament when you think about kids, who will naturally say like, oh man, like 5 more days till Christmas, I don't want to go to school. Like, and I'm sure there are kids who say that, who still love their teachers. My kids don't say that. They're so happy to go to school. They love their staff. They, everyone from the folks in the cafeteria to, like I said, when they get on the bus in the morning, get off the bus after school, and especially their teachers making a huge difference. So across the board, incredibly grateful. And when we stop to think this time of year about how much we have, it just really, not only what we have, but the people that we get to have that with, our fellow community members, the other students that are in school with our kids, and the families that are raising kids with us. Incredibly grateful to be a part of this community, and to get to serve on the board. So on that note, I will stop all of my gratefulness, and I wish everyone a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.
Thank you, Ms. Basin. Tonight, I just to piggyback off of what Danielle said, I think it's important. I just want to remind us as administrators and everybody in this room that it just becomes important to look at things, the perspective we look at it, right? It's very easy with everything going on in the world to always have a negative perspective. I even find myself sometimes doing that, where you just look at it from a perspective that's not, happy or joy, or see the good in something. And I think in particular with our school corporation and our community, we have so much to be grateful for, so much to be thankful for. And I look around at other school corporations and administrations, and the problems and issues they have, they just don't seem to come to our schools and our community. And I'm forever grateful for that, with the opportunity of having raised children that have attended our schools, and just the blessings that are bestowed upon us and what we've been given. And it's truly amazing. So just want to say thank you to the administration. Hope you guys get some time away. Hopefully you get some time with family and spend some time together. To all you out there in the audience and watching, hoping that you get some time as well, and that the blessings come to you this Christmas, and that we just take time to just step back and appreciate what we do have. And it's amazing if you just stop and look around the opportunities we do have. So just take a moment to observe. So thank you to everyone. Wishing you all Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, Happy New Year, and thank you for your support. Thank you for those individuals who came and commented tonight. We do appreciate it, and I want to echo the sentiments of the board. We do like having people come and give comment. It's good. So hopefully other people feel comfortable enough, and we'll see them in the future. But with that, I think we're done. We'll adjourn, unless anybody else has anything. But if I may have a motion to adjourn? Was that Mr. Angel? All right. Moved by Mr. Angel, second by Ms. Basin. All in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Nays? Vote